The most terrifying weapon that day wasn't the planes. It was the silence. And in that silence, the world changed forever. On the morning of September 11, 2001, the sun was shining. It was a perfect Tuesday. Then, at 8:46 a.m., American Airlines Flight 11 crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center. For 17 minutes, the world watched, believing it was a tragic accident. But at 9:03 a.m., the silence was shattered again. United Airlines Flight 175 sliced into the South Tower on live television. It was no accident. It was an attack. Welcome back to World with Ada. Today, we are going back to that morning. We are piecing together the timeline, the terror, and the truth behind the day that redefined our world. From the hijackers who passed through security to the heroes who fought back in the skies, this is the real story of September 11th. Let's begin. The attacks were orchestrated by Osama bin Laden and his extremist group, Al-Qaeda. Their goal was to strike at the heart of American power. 19 men, mostly from Saudi Arabia, were trained and sent to the United States to carry out a suicide mission. By the morning of September 11th, they had infiltrated the security checkpoints at 3 major airports. The 9/11 Commission report would later note that their success rate in penetrating the system was 19 for 19. At 7:59 a.m., American Airlines Flight 11 took off from Boston, bound for Los Angeles. On board were 5 hijackers, including the ringleader, Mohammed Atta. Just minutes into the flight, the hijackers stormed the cockpit. Using knives and threats of a bomb, they took control. At 8:46 a.m., they deliberately flew the plane into the North Tower, crashing between floors 93 and 99. The impact killed hundreds instantly and trapped thousands more above the impact zone. 17 minutes later, the South Tower was struck. Meanwhile, a third group of hijackers took over American Airlines Flight 77. At 9:37 a.m., this plane crashed into the Pentagon, the headquarters of the U.S. military, just outside Washington, D.C. The force of the impact killed 125 people inside the building and all 59 passengers and crew on board. But the day's events were not over. United Airlines Flight 93 was the 4th plane to be hijacked. Its intended target is believed to have been the U.S. Capitol building in Washington, D.C. However, the passengers and crew on this flight learned about the other attacks via cell phones. They knew they were pawns in a larger plan. Heroes like Todd Beamer, Tom Burnett, and Jeremy Glick decided to fight back. They tried to storm the cockpit, forcing the hijackers to crash the plane into an empty field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, at 10:03 a.m. All 44 people on board were killed, but their actions likely saved hundreds more lives in the nation's capital. In New York, the horror was only just beginning. The South Tower, burning for only 56 minutes, collapsed at 9:59 a.m. The North Tower followed at 10:28 a.m. In less than 2 hours, the Twin Towers, symbols of global economic power, were reduced to mountains of twisted steel and dust. The collapse of the towers destroyed several other buildings in the World Trade Center complex and released a massive plume of toxic debris over lower Manhattan. The cleanup operation would take months and cost nearly $750 million. In the chaos, there were miracles. Janelle Guzman McMillan was a clerk working on the 64th floor of the North Tower. She survived the collapse but was trapped in the rubble for 27 hours. She later wrote a memoir detailing how someone held her hand and kept her alive until rescuers found her. Stories like these are a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. The attacks killed 2,977 people from over 90 different countries. It was the deadliest terrorist attack on American soil in history. In response, the US launched the War on Terror, invading Afghanistan to dismantle Al-Qaeda and remove the Taliban regime that harbored them. The Department of Homeland Security was created to prevent future attacks. The attacks on 9/11 are more than just a historical event. They are a lesson in vigilance, courage, and the fragility of life. They remind us that the greatest threats often come from the shadows, and the greatest heroes often emerge from ordinary people thrust into extraordinary circumstances. What do you think, World with Ada family? Do you think the US response to 9/11 was justified? Let me know in the comments below. If you made it to the end, I want you to comment remember so I know you are a real one. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to World with Ada. We bring the world's history straight to your screen. Stay curious, stay dangerous, and I'll see you in the next one.